I guess we got all the players here now, huh? 10 o'clock for the Kayak Ridge Conditional Preliminary Plat Approval Extension.
Fire road is right on the other side of the pass. They wanted like $300 with insurance on that.
We go from smoke to snow.
Is any of that trout creek still smoking?
I don't know.
I wondered about that.
No, I think with that snow that we got, I think everything's pretty well.
to get to there.
Right, but the fire road is just dirt track. So we'll have valves or, to get final plat, we just have to have it.
But it's, right now, it's not a written condition. You can't add a condition today. So, it was a letter of commitment.
To do that. Okay, from Gary or the new people that hire Gary before he sells it.
There before yourself.
Okay.
So you gotta do the trailer.
Was it in here? I thought it was mentioned in this variance that we start, right? Emergency egress, this part of the phone, the comment on.
Yeah, but that, that just gets us from up here to here. That's all that did.
Okay. It gets here, here, and all the way to here is what that is.
Yeah, this
Right?
is, this goes all the way, comes to 6 and goes
All the way to 9 out to the county road.
Because we didn't have to redraft it, so we have to hold this draft. That look right?
One of the ways of written.
I was scratching my head, I was going, what the heck? Because it's not a primary road, it's just a.
Okay, so this, that's not. These are working conditions for the variance. This is just the explanation. So, it's, okay.
I just knew we drafted it, and it's like we spent a lot of time talking
I
about
forgot
it.
that we,
Strategic here. I drafted for your consideration approval for the extension and also similar language, it would just be a denial.
Mine had beers ago.
Depending on what you would.
Well, him and Jason were friends too, so that might be why he was,
That's. I might just have to
start talking to Ron here, other than we don't do that bad a job about records. Anyway, so this subdivision started back in 2013, and we discussed quite a bit in 2013. It was sufficient to review, went through the major part of the review in 2013, and that conditional approval would have given it a 2-year completion date. That's what we typically did then, with the possibility of an extension for an additional year. Legislature altered, changed how the governing body can look at a subdivision, and state law has been amended that extensions for subdivisions can be a negotiated situation between the governing body and the developers. So there's certainly a backup for state law by saying, we can come in and look at these extensions. So we still are not able to, well, since this subdivision was approved before the state law was approved, you would be obligated not to extend this for a longer period of time than giving a 1-year extension. If they wanted to go back, rehear the subdivision, and say that, you would, right now, if they were to gain approval, the subdivision process, they would have a chance for completing final plat within 3 years with a 1-year extension, or whatever is negotiated between the governing body. That's the way the current law statutes read on that. But since this was approved before that statute change, you're still obligated to consider 1-year extensions to this subdivision. So that has been extended, and this is where I'm going to need help, because we done more than one extension?
No, I thought the first approval was for 3 years.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be 13, 14, 15, 16, and then got an extension in 16 to 17. So 1-year extension last year was the
Right.
first time.
Okay. So that's where we are. So, anyway, the other thing that I think is notable at this time is that and Ron can help me out a little bit, when we first talked about the subdivision and the entrance. Where's the well? What am I missing?
It's there. The glasses on, I can see it. The
Did you put
well,
on there?
well, it's on the DEQ portion, but it's right here.
So the entrance is right here, and there's the existing drilled well there. And through part of this, it was modified from originally starting out as a lot that would be dedicated to the Frenchtown Fire. They could develop that lot in some manner to where that portion of it was reheard, and that there would be water storage there. Joe Calnan has been informed of the extensions. I looked at his emails from last time. He had a conflict, he couldn't make it. And I don't know about this time, we didn't have a verbal communication this time. It's out there, but certainly the situation can be that the water storage system can be developed. I think that Joe Calnan would be a little more comfortable with it after going through the Albert's process and getting a water tank down there and having that checked and stuff. And that's, my understanding is the same agreement. It's the responsibility of the homeowners association to make sure that the water system is connected to the fire fill system, and that the fire fill system is always charged and full of water. That would be the homeowners association, or it's going to be the developer's responsibility until the homeowners association is taken effect. So I think that's still there. I know Joe had quite a few comments for Albert's Acres that he felt that he didn't have adequate coverage for the length of the subdivision, but I think he obviously needs to voice those concerns and do that. But, so that's a condition, and that's one of the reasons that I would suggest to you that you could consider a denial, is that fire fill point and wildland urban interface. I'm not sure as those conditions are as maybe emphasized, fleshed out as much as they can be. And I guess I'll be a little bit jaded, because twice this week I've literally been arguing over a few trees and a drain field system where the guy will not want to cut the trees. And I said, well, good, don't put your drain field in then. But anyway, we put the urban interface standards that were available at that time. Whether the people, follow those and do those, it just seems in a lot of cases the people really want to try to maximize the number of trees, no matter where they are and what shape they are. They still should be doing the 200-foot setback and meeting the wildland urban interface standards, the WUI's accepted standards for those when there's construction. But I'm just not sure that there's a real hard mechanism to force those people to do that and make them do that. That would be a concern. So we would like to see that. There's language in there that they should do that, but it's then again, that's part of the marketing these lots, is that if that's expressed to those people and told to a future lot owner that, here's a responsibility, you need to do that, it's probably something that we can work with and try to do that. But it does amaze me that in this day and age with the fires and what we see, is that the people still want to try to climb onto every tree out there and not do much with it. So I guess, that's for your consideration. That's just kind of my opinion, and just sharing that with you. Otherwise, there's a good set of conditions for the subdivision, and there's been initial work, there's been initial base road work in there. What's the surface of the road?
It's paved partway in. I can't remember the exact distance.
1,000 feet or 1,000 something.
Yeah, about a third of the total distance.
I know we split it, but so we arrived at that and that was because of the traffic flow and everything else. So anyway, a portion of the road is going to be paved, and then the last part of the road is going to be gravel surface, 24 foot. And then we were discussing these emergency accesses. Somehow in this process we've done a discussion. Originally this emergency access was going to dump onto the rail link because it's just a wide open thing out there. I never was really comfortable with that. It was just that it's going to be done. But anyway, that has been altered so that this emergency secondary access for these long lots down here, if there was a fire to start this way, these people down here in this end could have a secondary route out of there. It would be, it's certainly defensible. I mean, it's all open space by the railroad right down there and stuff. So anyway, since then clarified that, I just had to ask Ron and Gary about that was on there.
We were just going to dump into the fire road along the railroad, which is on that side of the tracks, but we had to ask for permission from the railroad, and oh my God. They wanted a $3 million annual insurance policy, and it was revocable in either 30 or 90 days at any time they wanted to do it. So even though you had a written agreement with them, it could be revoked in 30 days if they decided to. So we went down there, and it's flat on both sides of the fence between the railroad and the property, so we just agreed to build a 12-foot wide gravel surface out there.
Make your own road.
Yeah, because of the fire road for the railroad doesn't even have gravel on it, it's just a dirt surface,
So if there's any other information or whatever you'd like to share with them, that'd be appropriate to.
The well that was drilled on that lot right where you enter the subdivision is about a 50 gallon per minute well. So what we have in the subdivision when it's approved is there'll be a shared well agreement for that well with the lot on the other side of the road. And that lot on the other side of the road will have a 10,000 gallon storage tank in it that the fire department could use for filling their water tenders out of. And it would be on a float with the well. That way whoever has that first lot would then get paid $10 a month by the homeowners association for whatever electricity is used to keep that tank full for the fire department. That was the agreement we had at that time. We were also making that lot available to the fire department if they would come out there and build the satellite station within a year, because there was some interest when we first started talking to them. By the end of it, the chief had changed and stuff, and they said there's no way there'll ever be a satellite station out there. They want the tank, they want the fill point, but that was 3 years ago, so.
Is there a
Two
commercial
chiefs.
lot? Is there one commercial lot or two?
Two
end lots down.
I think. Both those small lots are there.
Well, the two lots down here at the end, the one that's gonna have the fire fill and then this other one, those can be used for commercial purposes. So, you know, there's gonna be some kind of parking, some kind of something in there that, what they cannot be used for though is restricted from residential. So there won't be a house on those lots, but there could be some kind of convenience offering, something, some business or something there. I mean, I don't know how many times Gary's been approached, but I've been approached a lot about somebody with some kind of float business, you know, floating related something out there in that area, so.
Fly fishing or, yeah.
And whitewater. You know, whitewater people and stuff. So I don't think there's real necessity to go over all of the conditions that were there. They're still apply, they're still valid. And I think there was adequate review and consideration for when it went through the subdivision process. If you have some other questions or want something from me, I'll be glad to.
So why are you needing another extension? Just,
Kind of two reasons. One, we actually have a party interested in purchasing that property.
the whole
And
thing?
Yeah, and continuing the subdivision, finishing the subdivision, so, and they can assume that if they purchase it from us, they can continue where we left off. And that would be their intentions.
Yeah, and the market is finally starting to recover where some land's starting to sell.
Yeah.
And until now, there was no incentive to go in there and put another
I think
$50,000
that's why we
into
gave
that
the
road.
extension last time, was just because of the
Same, yeah.
market and everything.
Yeah. And the real estate market's been improving, housing's really improved. Bare land slowly coming back.
Yeah, I've done about 4 subdivisions that we filed extensions on ever since 2008 in Sanders County that we finally went through and completed this year, so. I mean, I've had a lot of these extensions, I was so sick of them. But, you know, that's what happens when,
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a dead, in Sanders County, we're still estimating that we have a 20-year inventory on the market.
And then I noticed, oh, word.
Okay.
So I'm rather neutral. I mean, it's been a long thing, but a long time process, but still I think it's a valid proposal and it certainly will. It's completed according to the conditions and stuff. I think it's it's viable and it'll serve the county well. So.
All right. Anybody else have a question, or?
I just think that we need to work with everyone. If they need an extension, they need an extension, and there's really no reason not to grant it to them. And I think it'd be good for the county.
All right, so you want to make a motion on either one of these two letters?
I would make a motion that we approve the 1-year extension for Kayak Ridge.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the extension request. All in favor of this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Jim, I'll leave that with you since
Okay,
it might be a different version than what you had in your office.
okay. The other, something to touch base on sometimes is
Don't want to create an ex parte, so, I mean, I guess you could put it on a notice, but I would suggest to you commissioners to take a trip. Like I say, I don't know if you want to go, if you go together, I suppose we should notice it, but if you have some time to go out and look at the Shy Rock, it's out there, take a drive around that and look what's in there, because final plat's coming fairly soon. So I might just give you an idea of what they've done out there, and how I mean, driveways and finished work.
It's open to drive around up there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I've been by there and kind of drove up on a little ways up there, but when I was watching the fire, I drove
Oh,
up
yeah.
there. but it's-
we all took a trip out there when they started on that. I bet it's changed. I don't think I've been out there since.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to do ex parte here, it's not, but you're all here and it's easier to ask all of you
Yeah.
in person that make a suggestion that you
We
go.
could do a little field trip on,
Not even this after today or
well,
this
you'd have to
afternoon.
notice it. If we went out
That
there as a
wouldn't be
group.
administrative business.
Not if we're,
If you don't make a decision, discuss and
We're
anything else
just
like
looking
that,
at
and you just
what
want
the
to go view it,
progress
there's no
is.
Yeah.
problem with
Okay.
that.
I mean,
all right,
Take lunch with you.
there you go.
You're on your own time.
Yeah.
I took a look up there just for curiosity a few weeks ago. And, you know, it's just a big boulder field. And all the boulders that they took out of the roads and the utility corridors and whatnot are in the undeveloped areas. So it already was just a boulder field, and now the areas that are left between all of the improvements have twice the boulders.
Yeah, it's, I think there's some, real positive about that, so. But we'll have a scheduled meeting in here. I don't, it's not gonna be, I mean, it's not a 2-week notice, but we just have to get it on here, but when, Roman's back here, so we will, I think I guess hope that all 3 of you are here when we come in, because there's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting for how we approach final plat, because you really cannot do a condition, at that time, but we're gonna have to have some gentleman agreements, because the water system is supposed to be up, running, and charged for final plat, but it's supposed to be closed down on November 30th.
Because of the weather.
Huh?
Because of the weather or what?
No, because of the occupancy has to be terminated at,
Oh, I see.
and there's not a fire hazard, so that, there's no reason to have the water system
Charged.
But we're gonna have an agreement that next spring, we're all checking that and stuff. So, few little things like that, so. So, very good.
all right, public comment, 11:32, with Hefty from
All right,
St. Regis.
I just got a report from the community park over there. Steve called me, or actually Carol called me for Steve on Wednesday to help troubleshoot a plumbing problem in the well pit for the irrigation pump there by the flagpole.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot of work in that over the years. I don't understand it, I'm not that mechanical, but we had water in there when we didn't want it there. And it was a leaky valve or two. That there's a whole gaggle of valves and pipes in there that I don't understand. You know. So I chased down Tom Simpkins and asked him to come over and give us advice, because he knows all this stuff. So we were pumping the water out of there, and nothing was permanently hurt. It got right up to the bottom of the electrical panel in that big irrigation pump that sits on the floor. So we just looked out there. And he advised us on just disconnecting the big pump and put plugs on the pipes so it's secure for the winter. We'll need to spend some money next spring, I think, to replace some leaky valves. So that's kind of routine stuff, but I don't know how involved it's gonna get. So anyway, that just came up. And then,
They can be replaced from down in there though.
yeah, it's all work that can be done.
Don't have to dig it up to,
No, it's all within that well pit, concrete well pit. Yeah, it can all be done. So I guess we'll deal with that in the spring. Meanwhile, I asked Steve about the aerator that's out in the pond behind Shoulders there. And he and I both wanted to talk to each other about it on Wednesday, but we forgot, and yesterday we finally connected. I said, well, when are we going to pull the aerator for the season? Because normally we pull it about now and send it off to get serviced or something, you know. He said, well, we're going to leave it until the end of the month and get some advice from the county. John Schober made a proposal to keep it running all winter, and he would pay the electricity. So Steve couldn't be here today, but I was coming over anyway. So I thought I'd just let you know that the thought is out there. I mentioned it to Jessica too, from a financial standpoint. You know, how would that work? How would a county facility be paid for by a private citizen next door? There are 4 meters at the park, that have recurring bills. And we can figure out which meter is the one that covers the aerator, because it's a fairly spendy item.
oh, I imagine, yeah.
I think
What is these, just,
Reasoning.
what is these reasons to
I haven't
run all
talked,
winter?
I haven't talked to him, but Steve said he believes that John will, you know, he takes him at his word.
Mhm.
that he
Oh,
would-
yeah, if he said it.
that he would work with us and pay for that usage during the winter months. I don't know, maybe he just likes the way it looks, or he or she or both. They like the way it looks. Maybe they like to see some open water stay
Yeah.
all winter, so some of the birds can get into some of the
Yeah,
water
that
there.
could be
You know, it'll be kind of an attraction.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought I'd
Well,
give you the tentative update on that.
cool.
And you'll probably be hearing from Steve with more details. But I got copies of the 4 sample statements from Northwestern Energy for the 4 different meters out there. They're kind of identified in the heading information, but not real clearly. So we'll figure out which meter it is, and we'll figure out at least that part of it. And so you might just think about what kind of agreement would that take with a private citizen and the county?
Yeah, I don't think it would be any different. I mean, it would be a donation, and he could earmark it as, you know, St. Regis Park area pump. I would think, I mean, we'd have to ask Alan to
Yeah.
get some legal advice, but it wouldn't be any different than any other donation then,
Steve seemed to think it was doable.
yeah, I would think so.
They could just bring in a check and they could attach it to the check going to
To-
Northwest Energy or whatever. And
Huh.
Okay, so I said,
How
well,
much does it run a month, you know?
I'm not sure till I figure out which
one's
meter.
Which,
Yeah,
I would think it'd probably be fairly spendy.
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it
a
is.
pretty good sized aerator.
Once he knows how much it really cost around that.
Might not,
Yeah,
might change his mind.
so, anyway, we'll look into it. Okay? So you'll hear back from us, or we'll figure something out. Okay?
So I know that the Fish and Game is talking about dredging it out and making it a
Yeah.
little bit bigger and,
Forest Service owns half of the pond, see?
Mm.
Line runs right through it.
Yeah.
So the Forest Service is interested, Fish, Wildlife and Parks is interested. DEQ, I think, has something to say about it. But all the parties that have talked to each other are in favor of doing it, is spiffing up that pond, because it hasn't been really
Right.
done since the park was built.
Yeah.
It's filling in with sediment in organic manner and dead wood.
Yeah, there's still logs down there.
Oh, yeah. So-
That's what happened the last time when they dredged it out. They had a track mount shovel there and they tipped it over actually,
Oh, really?
trying to pull a log out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was weird, the logs were so ugly when they pulled them out of there, and then shaved the end off of prettiest wood. you
Yeah.
can see.
Oh, yeah, the submerged wood
Yeah.
preserves real well.
Yeah, there was some white pine that big around. Dick Vincent donated from down at Thompson Falls, donated the crane, and Mike Lewis was running.
Mike Lewis kept it
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Like, I've heard that story. I just missed it. Yeah. No, I got here in '89 when the park was dedicated, so I missed all of those.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have been around to help with that park.
Yeah, especially that plumbing part, because that has been a pain.
Yeah.
It always, I mean, that's always a recurring,
Yeah.
you know, and Bob and Shirley worked their heart out on that park, and, but you know, it was probably done on a nickel and a dime, and
Well, and the ground is so rough and uneven,
it's been a lot of years,
you know? Yeah,
you know?
yeah, it's been almost 30 years.
Yeah,
And the ground is wavy and uneven because of what's underneath it,
Yeah.
you know? And so plastic sprinkler pipes, wear and tear from driving around out there.
yeah.
So we did have a bunch of leaky pipes and groundwater issues in the spring because it was an unusual water year, at least that part of the year was. And so we had to do a lot of repairs on plumbing, you know, and that poor system takes a lot of repairs every year. It's almost like if we had $1 million, we'd just do it all over.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, well, think about it.
All right.
well, thanks, Glenn.
We'll check into the donation deal.
Yeah. Otherwise, all we got going on is the Harvest Fest in 2 weeks. We got Scarecrow Row leading up to it. And I've been bugging the school to get involved more with that. Maybe put on some kind of a Halloween party.
Oh, cool.
Because the community council isn't gonna do it. We don't have the manpower, you know. We've got a lot of stuff stored that could be used for Halloween. But we need somebody else to run with it. So we'll see if the school picks up on any of that.
All right.
Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks.